How's everyone? ABL here, and today I have a very interesting topic, one that has been in the news for quite a while, all over the internet. It's gotten a lot of attention, a lot of negative responses, and a lot of positive responses as well, and that is the whole idea of security clearances. A lot of people, which I'll place on the screen before you, are up for review, and I hope that they all get their security clearances revoked. Now, this issue has raised a lot of eyebrows and caused a lot of controversy because Trump is the driving force behind this. A lot of these individuals you saw on the screen are part of what I like to call the deep state, the swamp. That's just what it is. These people are either obviously or have been suspected of being treasonous against the current administration, against the country in general. Just part of the deep state, part of the swamp, part of what wants to keep the presidency as a puppet position rather than one that is able to lead going forward, which is what we put him in office to do. But before I get into all of that, before I tear it down, let's watch this very short clip from my man Jim Jordan in Ohio, and he'll explain why each of these people you saw on the screen should have their security clearance revoked. After we get done with that, I'll talk more about that, and then I'll talk about some of the naysayers and what their reasoning is for being against these people having their security clearance be reviewed. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
By the way, Jim Jordan suggested earlier today on Fox News that, in fact, there are a lot of other people that should lose their security clearance. Let's just play the sound, get your quick reaction.
Sure. John Brennan leaked information to Harry Reid. Lost his clearance. James Clapper lied under oath in the Intel Committee in the Senate. James Comey has been fired for leaking information and all kinds of other things. Andy McCabe lied 3 times under oath, has been fired. Sally Yates, fired. Peter Strzok, demoted, then fired. Lisa Page, demoted, then left the FBI. Jim Baker, chief counsel at the FBI, demoted and then left. I think all those people, frankly, should lose their clearance.
Okay, so you saw that. Now, that was straight to the point. He did it very well, much better than I would have been able to do myself. And what he said here was 100% correct. Before I even get into some of the, more political stuff, let's just break it down on a base level, on an average everyday Joe level. If I'm a guy and I work at McDonald's, I work at Burger King, Walmart, or whatever, and I have the keys to open and close, when I get fired, when I quit, or whatever the case may be, don't I have to hand in my keys and my vest and my hat and my name tag or wherever else I have? I can't just keep that. I have to give that back to the company. If not the vest, name tag, hat, pants, shoes, whatever, I must at least give them back the keys. I can't keep the keys to the job I worked before that I don't work anymore, to an apartment or a house I don't live in anymore if I did not own it. Like, I have to give all that back to the individuals who own the actual place where I worked. That's just how that is. So why do these people think that it's not okay to be put up for review to get your security clearance revoked after you have been fired from the White House or you resigned under suspicious circumstances, like in the case of Lisa Page? She was in the whole thing with Peter Strzok, who was in that. These are 2 married individuals having an affair with each other, engaging in some anti-Trump collusion. All right. When she got found out, shortly thereafter, she resigned. Peter Strzok just got recently fired. So why do they still have their security clearances? What are you going to do with that? And a lot of these individuals are trying to use their particular status or what they had before to monetize it. They're trying to write books. I mean, we see what's going on with Peter Strzok. He has this big GoFundMe talking about, support a person that's for the freedom of the press and the freedom of the government, all this and that. Meanwhile, these individuals who are up for review of the security clearances and those who have had their security clearance revoked, we'll talk about that in a moment. These people are part of the swamp. All right. And many of us voted for Trump to drain the swamp. So by reviewing the security clearances and hopefully revoking them, he will effectively begin the process or continue the process of draining the swamp. These individuals do not belong in government, especially a guy like James Comey, Andrew McCabe. Andrew McCabe lied under oath many times. He was corrupt when he was in the FBI. You had his wife, Jill McCabe, try to run for Senate in Virginia. I don't even know where they're from. They're probably not even from anywhere close to Virginia. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but that's aside from the point. Virginia politics often gets used as a stepping stone for DC politics, because a lot of what happens in Virginia politically is centered around DC, because you have to understand DC metropolitan area, much of that is in Virginia. I think like 1/3 of Virginia's population is in the DC area. So they tried to get her in there. They were bribing people or, accepting money, giving money, whatever. That didn't work. I mean, these individuals who were on the screen are just a big pile of corruption, stinking swamp that must be cleared out. Bruce Orr, I mean, this guy was talking about the anti-Trump collusion, trying to keep it under wraps. I mean, you got other people. Who else do we have here? James Clapper, another nut. Susan Rice, another nut. A lot of these people should not have their clearance right now. And there's one more guy, John Brennan. John Brennan is very outspoken against Trump. I never seen, well, I won't say never. He's one of the top 3 anti-Trumpers I've seen that have ever come from the government. He's very outspoken on the internet. He goes on television all the time giving anti-Trump speeches. Why did he have a security clearance? All right. He was the ex-CIA director under Obama. He's been fired under Trump. So what do you need that clearance for? What are you going to do? You've been fired from the government. Why do you need that still? He's going on TV talking about Trump is just using this to fight his critics and to retaliate against those who have hurt him. But it's not even really about Trump. It's about you guys being so corrupt, being so underhanded with your tactics that you need to have your security clearance revoked. It's just that simple. And then there's a bunch of people that wrote an article. If I could find that, I'll link to it in the box, maybe even on the screen. I'm looking at it right now, actually. This is from the New York Times, and the article says Trump is not a king. And it says a group of top former intelligence and military leaders are sending a message to the nation's troops and spies. Think twice before following the president's orders in the crisis. So let's just get this straight here. These individuals who purport themselves or claim to be former military, former intelligence leaders, they're saying don't follow the president's orders or maybe think twice about it. They're putting doubt in the military's minds. All right. If Trump's not a king, then what are you? Who are you to be dictating to people what they should and shouldn't do? All right. They have orders since they're in the military still. What are you talking about being outside of the military? This right here seems kind of like sedition. And this is why your clearances are being revoked. It's really just that simple. I don't understand what's the real purpose of this, because at the end of the day, Trump is not going to cease being the president. He'll probably get elected again in 2020 because there's nobody on the opposing side. I mean, who are you going to put in there? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who doesn't even really know too much about just basic politics. Are you going to put 74-year-old Bernie Sanders in there? Matter of fact, he's 76, I think. If he gets elected, he'll be like 80 by the time he gets into his first year. He's too old. Hillary Clinton, we all saw what happened with her, bumbling, stumbling, couldn't really stop coughing. Joe Biden, an absolute creep, a guy that you would not trust anywhere near your daughter. Who do they have? They have a bunch of old people who are fakeless and failed before. They have nobody. So maybe this is the only way that they on the left, or they who oppose Trump, because it's not even necessarily a left or a right thing as I close. It's all about those who oppose Trump, those who oppose any kind of president that cannot be controlled and that cannot be puppeted. The only other option is to come up with these fake things like from Bruce Orr, the whole Russia collusion kerfuffle, the fake dossier from, who was that? Christopher Steele, whatever his name was. All these individuals are coming together to form a coalition of sorts that want to bring the presidency back to within that they control. These former military leaders, intelligence leaders, they want to be able to tell the president whatever they want to fulfill their particular obligations to those who have got them in their positions. But that is pretty much all I got. At the end of the day, I say revoke, remove, deport, wall for all these individuals who are traitorous, seditious, and are part of what we all call the swamp. This is why we got Trump in office. This is why I hired him. This is why you hired him, to drain the swamps. So I don't see how anybody who is for the government being more accountable and less corrupt would be against these people having their security clearances reviewed. All right. Now, all of them may have their clearance revoked, but I think they all should. So what do you think? Do you think this is a good idea to revoke these individual security clearance for the reasons I named? Or is it a bad thing? Do you think it's just Trump trying to retaliate against these individuals? Now, if you think that way, please explain to me why a person who has been fired from the White House or from the government as a high-ranking person, why should they keep the security clearance after they've been fired, especially in the case of a guy like James Comey or Andrew McCabe, Bruce Orr, those who have been implicated in direct corruption schemes? Why would they keep the security clearance? If I have to give back my keys from working at Chick-fil-A opening and closing, why must they keep their security clearance after being fired on a thing that may even be criminal? I don't know, but whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.